It's a site famed for its role in the 1916 Rising, and tomorrow plans for a €150 million redevelopment of the Boland's mill site in Dublin's Docklands will be lodged with Dublin City Council. The application, which proposes the restoration of the 5 original but now derelict mill buildings and the construction of 3 new office and residential blocks, is the first significant plan to be made under the fast-track planning scheme for Dublin's Docklands. Mark Reynolds, receiver and director with Savills, who are acting on behalf of NAMA, is with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us about these plans. I gather this is the biggest planning application since the crash.
Yeah, it's the largest application that Dublin City Council will receive since the crash, and it's also the first major planning application within that new SDZ for the South Locks. The site obviously is one of the most iconic and recognisable in the South Docks.
So what then is it hoped will go on this site? Because, as we said, it's quite a large site.
It is. The site itself is just shy of 3 acres. The proposals set out plans for 400,000 square foot of a new urban quarter that's going to comprise new streets, new avenues, new culture and performance space, and a large new civic square. Within that scheme, we're also going to have 3 iconic new buildings. 2 of those are going to be office accommodation, and 1 is going to be a large residential block. Now,
there were, I seem to recall, a few years back, plans for this particular site. What happened?
There was a planning application by the previous owner, which went to Bord Pleanála and was refused planning permission.
So what has happened to the site since then? It's been in the wars, really.
Yeah, the site, I'm afraid, fell into disrepair. A lot of the buildings badly need refurbishment and need to be restored. And over the last 12 months, the Dublin City Council have put in place this detailed master plan called an SDZ to map out the development not only of this site but also all the surrounding sites in the South Docks.
We're talking here about quite a bit of office space, 30,000 square metres. Who is it hoped would want this office space?
It's a combination. We've had various inquiries from the IT sector, from traditional professional and accountancy firms looking for office space. There's been no shortage of inquiries over the last 12 or 18 months for that space.
I suppose people who know the area are immediately going to say, are Google interested? Because they're not a million miles away from this site.
Yeah, Google, to be fair, one of the names that have been mentioned in the press over the last couple of months, but to be fair, there's quite a number of occupiers similar to Google. A lot of the US corporates, IT companies have made inquiries as well.
What happens now then?
So the plan now is that the planning application gets lodged tomorrow. We will hopefully have a decision by March of next year, and once we get that grant of permission, hopefully from Dublin City Council, we'll be on site pretty much immediately.
And who's likely to do the developing?
The development, the plans, once we get the grant of planning permission, then we'll consider our options, but there's very much plans to get on site quickly once that grant of permission is granted.
Mark Reynolds, thanks indeed for joining us. Mark Reynolds, their receiver and director with Savills. The time 9 minutes to 8 o'clock. Time for the business from Emma.
Thanks very much, Rachel.